All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the Australian music industry to tell you the story of a true unsung hero, a pint-sized powerhouse who completely changed the game for the folks who make the show go on. This is the story of Dee Dimmick.
This single quote from music journalist Matt Innes, it really says it all. It just perfectly frames Dee Dimmick's massive, and yet somehow widely unknown influence. For 3 whole decades, if a major show was happening in Brisbane, you can bet her hands were on it, making sure everything ran like absolute clockwork.
And that's a fantastic question, right? Who was she? Well, she was a crew chief. She was a founder, a mentor, and honestly, a protector. So let's dive in and really uncover the story of this true industry champion, because her legacy is one that absolutely deserves to be known. Okay, so to kick things off, let's get right to the heart of who Dee Dimmick was and what she really stood for. See, she wasn't just managing crews. She was building an entire revolution, right from the ground up. Her whole mission becomes crystal clear when you just look at her journey. Back in 1995, she founded All Access Crewing. But you gotta understand, this was way more than just a business. It was a crusade. She fought so fiercely for fair pay and safe conditions at a time when that was basically unheard of. To her, the hundreds of people who worked for her, they weren't just employees, they were her family of crew. Now, to really grasp the kind of revolution she started, we first have to understand the world she was up against. It was an industry that frankly just chewed people up and spit them out. So let's picture it. The year is 2003. A young guy named Matt Innes, just 17 years old, he loves music. And all he wants to be is a roadie. But the advice he gets is just bleak. He's told it's a dead-end dream. And you know what? At the time, the reality of that job was pretty grim. And that was the reality she set out to change. Before Dee, roadies were constantly underpaid, treated like they were completely disposable, and basically worked to the bone with no real future. But she came in and introduced a whole new standard: fair pay, safe conditions, and respect. She took a dead-end job and turned it into a legitimate career. Okay, let's get into this next section, because honestly, nothing captures Dee's spirit quite like this story. It's a legendary tale of her standing up to this touring giant, all to protect 2 totally terrified trainees. So let's set the scene. It's 2003. We're at an Avril Lavigne concert. You've got 2 trainees, it's their very first day, and Dee gives them one simple, very direct order. Stand back, watch, learn, and do not touch a single thing. Sounds easy enough, right? Well, of course, that doesn't last long. A huge, towering tour chief spots these 2 teenagers just standing there, and he completely loses it. He storms right over and just screams at them to move this massive piece of equipment. They're terrified, they're confused, they're trying to explain what they were told, but he is not listening. So the panicked trainees start trying to haul this giant case. And that's when Dee sees what's happening. But instead of yelling at her trainees, she calmly walks right up to the tour chief, basically stands between him and her crew like a lioness protecting her cubs, and she asks him one simple, direct question. Now, this tour chief, he has absolutely no idea who he's dealing with. He puffs out his chest and just dismisses her. I'm the big international crew chief. Who is this pint-sized woman questioning my authority? Yeah, that turned out to be a really bad move. Dee's response? It was instant and it was legendary. She just says, "Yeah, well, I'm boss lady, and you don't ever yell at my crew again." In that one moment, the 6-foot, hard-nosed tour chief was completely tamed. She didn't just establish her authority, she protected her people, and she created a story that people would be telling for years to come. And that one incredible moment, it really speaks to her much, much bigger impact. Her work wasn't just about winning confrontations on the concert floor. It was about fundamentally rebuilding the industry's entire support structure. This timeline really shows a lifetime of dedication. She started in the 80s by shattering barriers as Australia's very first female stage rigger. Then, in 95, she founded All Access to guarantee fair work. Then, in 2003, she actually founded a training college, ETETC, to create a real legitimate pathway into the industry. And believe it or not, her work didn't stop there. Her final mission was maybe her most important of all. She founded Roadie's Retreat, a nonprofit designed to support roadies as they reached retirement. And why? Well, because she was trying to combat a truly disturbing statistic, an alarmingly high suicide rate among Australian roadies. So her legacy, it wasn't just about fair pay, it was literally about keeping her people alive. So, what is the lasting echo of a hero whose name most of us have probably never even heard until today? Well, her true legacy lies in the lives she touched, and, tragically, in the history that has so often overlooked her. This one little anecdote says everything. More than a decade after he'd last worked for her, Matt Innes called Dee for a story. He introduced himself, fully expecting she would have no clue who he was. Her response was immediate, and it was so heartwarming. "Of course I remember you, Maddie." That family of crew thing, it wasn't just a slogan for her. It was a lifelong commitment. And yet, here is the central tragedy of her story. Despite her monumental impact, we're talking building thousands of careers and changing an entire industry for the better, her name is almost never mentioned in the official histories of Australian music. It's a criminal omission. It truly is. And that really leaves us with this final thought. Dee Dimmick built a better world for thousands of people, most of whom remained completely invisible to the average concert goer. Her story makes you wonder, doesn't it? Who are the unrecognized heroes in your world? The people whose vital contributions go completely unnoticed, but without whom the show, it just couldn't go on.